G'day kids, and welcome to a reading of George the Farmer's 5th picture book, George the Farmer, Harvest Hiccup. Let's get into it. The sun was shining brightly and the air was still and the crops were dry. It was harvest time at Telford. It had been 8 months since Jack Farmer had helped plant the broad beans, using beans harvested from an earlier crop. Hello, my beautiful broad bean. I was hoping that you would grow into a gigantic beanstalk climbing all the way up to the clouds. Sorry to disappoint, Jack, but they won't be reaching the clouds anytime soon. It's harvest time, said his dad, George. These ripper pods full of tasty beans will be used to grow even more tasty beans. Before harvest begins, George has maintenance to complete on the harvester, including removing any dust or dried grass so the machine doesn't overheat. Fires are a worry during harvest time as the crops are so dry. Even the tiniest spark can spell big trouble. I love the view from up here, Jack beamed. Jessie the Kelpie loved it too. Here's an interesting fact, Jack, said George as they travelled up and down the rows of beanstalks. The header front that cuts the crop was invented back in 1914 by a man named Hedley Taylor from Henty in New South Wales. Although the technology has changed, Hedley's design is still used across the world. Ruby and Lucy Farmer were on fire watch and had a water tank on the back of the ute just in case there was an emergency. Oh no, there was smoke coming from their neighbour Neville's paddock. Ruby jumped into action. Quick, George, call the country fire service. Neville has a fire on his property. I'll drive over to see if everything's okay. Roger that, Ruby, said George. But it wasn't okay. A small fire was burning in Neville's broad bean crop. Ruby grabbed her hose and sprayed water on the flames until the fire truck arrived. Her quick action stopped the fire from spreading. Great effort, Ruby. We can take over from here. There's only a bit of mopping up to complete, said Fireman Ben. You saved my broad bean crop. Thanks, Ruby, said Neville. That's what neighbours are for, laughed Ruby, and thank goodness for our volunteer firefighters. They're our best mates. Back at Telford, Ruby watched on as George and Jack successfully harvested the last of their beans. We did it, Dad, said Jack. What a bumper crop. More like a wonder crop, said George. These beans are full of vitamins and protein for people, but they're also great for the land. Each plant absorbs nitrogen gas from the atmosphere and puts it back into the soil, boosting the nutrient levels so we can grow another bumper crop next season. Jack stepped back into the cabin just as a smelly, warm breeze wafted by. Oh, Dad, gross! I think you've eaten too many gassy beans, laughed Jack. Either that or Jessie's been rolling in kangaroo poo again. George grinned. The end. That was George the Farmer and the Harvest Hiccup. I hope you enjoyed the book. Please visit georgethefarmer.com.au to learn more about George the Farmer and see all the books in his range. We'll see you later.